And we're live. Good afternoon, Shannon. And good afternoon, everybody out in LinkedIn and YouTube and Twitter world. It's nice to see everybody.
Hi, Tom. Good to be here. Good to experience this technology with you today. I can't wait to dive in.
Yeah, I'm so excited to show it to you. Frankly, StreamYard is one of my favorite new kind of tools, right? And I encountered it at one of my previous employers, and then I learned recently that it's actually part of the suite of tools for conferencing that comes with Hopin. If you've ever been to a Hopin conference,
Yes.
and so it's the tool they use to simulcast or broadcast or whatever the word right cast word is, the speakers, right? And then so we're kind of leveraging that, and I was hoping to dig into it today with you and show you StreamYard and how powerful it is. I find it to be a wonderful tool. I think I shared with you that I've done this is my sixth webinar, and I'm incredibly proud of all of them. They're it's a neat format, and I think it's a neat tool to get your message out. And I think that's really what brings us here today.
Fantastic. Thanks for looping me in. I had
Yeah.
heard of StreamYard and someone had mentioned it, and it was just one of those things that I couldn't compute. Like, oh, wow, it broadcasts out to everything at once and saves you all that time. Obviously, that sounds like a dream. That sounds great to reach more people with less time and less stress. But you're the pro, and for you to be able to walk through this is a gift. So I'm very grateful to see the demo with you.
Terrific. So on that note, I think we did have some goals, but we could probably discuss them as we go along. But I think the demo is really kind of the meat of our webinar today. And so if it's okay with you, maybe I'll just jump into it and we could start talking about it. And so everyone who is watching this after the fact, today is June 27th at 3 p.m. or Eastern time, or they're watching the live stream. So right now, the real kind of amazing thing that StreamYard does is it takes this video that Shannon are generating off of our laptops. We both have cameras and speakers and all that stuff. So it gathers that video, it combines them together into almost like a Zoom. But what's different about this than the Zoom is it streams it out too. In my case, I set it up for Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And then the real advantage, I was mentioning this to you earlier, Shannon, is that the recordings on LinkedIn or even YouTube are really a tremendous benefit because you can slice and dice them. You can use them for other purposes. You can point people to these incredibly interesting conversations like this one that we're having, and and um, I think you could probably use it, and I think you get pretty creative with it. I can think of some kind of interesting sales or post sales type solution or uses for it. Because
Yeah, I was just thinking I've started these Q&A sessions for prospects to learn more about Whole U and the different offerings. And actually, I had a bit of a funny snafu just this past weekend because I thought I would host one on LinkedIn, and it was an audio event, but it was just one way. So I guess that's what's happening now is that this is a one-way webinar and we're talking and it's more educational. But I had misunderstood and thought that was a two-way dialogue. So it's important to know your software, and I think that this would be a great educational tool.
yeah,
To,
and so on that note, people that's actually a good point. So the way you get communication with the audience during the stream is that your audience can ask questions via LinkedIn chat or YouTube chat,
oh, no
or
way.
yeah, and so it doesn't matter which platform they're watching it from. Those
Okay.
messages end up back in StreamYard, and unfortunately, I can't demo that. Kind of in this situation, but
Let me see.
you
I'm just gonna I put a private chat to you, but I'm using the comments section. I know we're not doing a screen
yeah.
share,
No,
but I do see a comment section.
let's screen share this. This is a great segue. So I'm gonna. So if anyone's kind of following around out there, I'm gonna go down to the present button. So I'm the host, and then Shannon is a participant, and I have this kind of special status. And then I'm gonna click on share screen, and then I'm gonna. And one of the nice things is you can share, and I can't share this process just yet, but I'm working on it. And so I can share individual tabs, Shannon, which is very nice. And so or I can share my whole entire desktop, or I can share a window.
Okay.
And so the tab feature I find to be really kind of cool because as the host, I have a kind of a lot going on my desktop, and so if I just have to share one particular tab, I find it a very nice feature. And then Google Chrome actually notices that you're sharing a tab, and it changes the actual tab. And so, I mean, that's kind of a guy that's into this stuff. I think it's kind of neat.
I think these days we all have a million tabs open and don't necessarily want everybody to see all of the tabs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or they'll find out I'm like reading off a script or something, whatever it looks like.
Yeah, exactly right.
So unfortunately, the screen sharing does have this kind of artifact in the current situation we're doing, and we have this kind of infinity loop going on. So what I'm going to do, Shannon, I'm going to cover up my my desktop, that part of my desktop, with a text edit. And so this is a technique I've used before. So that should kind of make it. Does it improve the situation? Have you? I can't tell.
Still seeing the kaleidoscope effect. I wore the correct shirt for this. It's a very
you did
trippy kind of scene that I'm still seeing.
I'm so jealous. So if you could just give me another second, let me see if I can improve the situation.
There you go. Now I just see you and I.
Yeah, I just turned it off, and so I'm going to try sharing the screen again, and then I'm going to do entire screen. That was a mistake I made. So I just did the Chrome window. And so when I do this, I have a feeling this will be more improved. So we have the kaleidoscope again. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up. And now it covered up that part of the screen. And so we don't get that kind of visual like nonsense anymore. But you can see the rest of the StreamYard tool, right? Like over here is the private chat we were discussing, right? So I can click on the private chat. Oops. Oh, this might be a little trippy. And so I'm going to click on it. And there's a hello, everyone. And so this private chat is specific to your and my communication. So it would be you and your participants. Mm-hmm. The actual chat that I was referring to is this comments bar right here. And this would be coming in from LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter, wherever anyone was watching that. And so that's kind of a critical feature. So you have this, this real-time communication with your audience, which is very powerful. And do you see that filling your need that you had the other night? If your users could have been chatting with you?
Absolutely. It just so happened that someone that I knew personally happened to like bounce into the Q&A session, and I said, "Oh, John, if you can hear me, send me a text and let me know if you can see anything."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so if he could have typed in this functionality, that would have been really great. But I'm thinking this could also be used for this other program we're launching, Fund Your Bliss, which maybe we can talk about later. But this is a webinar, but it's not only one-sided, that there is some communication from the audience. So I love that you don't need to, that you can be in whatever platform, like you just said, Twitter, LinkedIn, and write from within the platform. I'm really interested to see what that's like, that user experience as well as this hosting experience.
Yeah. I think the Fund Your Bliss would make it. I'm familiar with it. You've mentioned it to me. So I think it's important for you to maybe explain what that is, if you don't mind, and then we can kind of dig into it. Maybe that will be our kind of a thing that we're trying to work towards in this session.
So for those of you who don't know about Whole You or me, so I started Whole You Career and Life Strategy about 11 years ago at this point. And originally the mission was an agency for change agents, people who wanted to do their thing, do their life's work or pursue their life's work, but also obviously share it with other people in order to help other people and impact other people. And so there's these 3 pillars of Whole You that I believe help us live a balanced, purposeful life. So number 1, wellness. Number 2, career, which is for better or worse, how people see me as a career coach. And then this 3rd pillar, which is service. And it is service to society, but I think it's also through entrepreneurial endeavors and being a solo entrepreneur or a knowledgepreneur or a coach, sharing your knowledge with the world. So this service element is something that I've been talking with Tom for many years at this point about all of the knowledge he has and how to share it with others in order to help other people. And so hopefully, Tom, you can talk more about that. But back to the Fund Your Bliss very quickly. I realized in working with people in their careers and getting a job, the one element that was holding people back from pursuing their dreams or following their bliss, so to speak, in Joseph Campbell's terminology, was, yeah, I'd love to, but what about the money? Where's the money going to come from? So it just a series of things happened to really bring money to the forefront of my consciousness and say, like, we need to address this money thing. And I think that they should happen simultaneously, and one feeds into the other. So you can follow your bliss if you have the funding to follow your bliss. So that's the general premise. I hope that's clear. But back to Tom and what we're doing here. This event that we're doing now is sort of a launch or an announcement to say online entrepreneurs, digital entrepreneurs that want to build a platform and share their knowledge with the world. They're okay, maybe money is one of the blocks, but what is one of the other blocks is technology. I don't know how to use technology. I don't know how to set up all these webinars and all these calendars and all these payment platforms. So I use a platform called Kajabi, which I hope that we'll talk about in future sessions as well. But it's a tool that Tom and I have talked a lot about and might go deeper in with you in these sessions. But I think that Kajabi is a place that actually helps you bring all of these tools together, which is really beautiful. But then, of course, there's some other tools that you might need to plug in. Like, I don't know if StreamYard is somehow able to integrate with Kajabi or other platforms, but either way, it's really great to know about this StreamYard platform. So, Tom, please take it away.
Yeah, so I think first of all, it was a wonderful commercial for your program. So just for anyone out in the internet that isn't aware, I've been a customer of Shannon's for a number of years now, 3 or 4 now. And her services are top notch. As you can probably tell from her brief commercial, that's the level of professionalism and grit's not the right word, but grit she brings to the process. And just working with her is just marvelous and wonderful, and I can't recommend it more. But specifically, what she was talking about is me, launching my own kind of training system. I think that's probably the right expression, around zero trust, and it's something I've been working on and wanting to and soliciting her advice on from a career perspective. And just to be clear, so Shannon has quite a bit of experience with Kajabi, and Kajabi is this kind of learning and interact and content management system that's very, very powerful. I think last time I read on their website, they're responsible for over $4+ billion in revenue from all of their coaches and their knowledgepreneurs, which is my new favorite word. And I aspire to do something like that with zero trust networking and creating a program teaching how to do. This is my kind of slogan. It's not going to be the name of the program, but my slogan is zero trust done right. And so I intend to use Kajabi, and I intend to utilize Shannon's resourcing and her status as a. Am I getting this right, Shannon? You're a Kajabi all-star. Is that the expression? Or
I don't know if they would call me an all-star. I'm a super fan. Let's call me that. Fan. Yeah. I'm not sure of their tiers or whatnot, sure. But I love to share Kajabi with other people just because I know how much time it saved me. So I do hope you use it and leverage it. But maybe getting back to a little bit more about the topic that you want to focus on. And actually, I think that number now is up to 5 billion. I don't know if it was over 60,000 users, entrepreneurs using their platform, but I think the recent number was that exceeded 5 billion in revenue amongst all of Kajabi's customers.
Oh my goodness.
And again, it's just, I'd been to their conference in California. I just went to their conference in Texas, and I'm just a fan of their culture, their attitude, where they're coming from. They're extremely generous and kind and funny, and it's just a great team to be involved with. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a super fan and kind of promoting it in the way I do. But it's kind of neat to see these software tools or technologies. And Tom, you would certainly know more than I, being deep into the space. Like what the culture or the values that these companies were built on and how that permeates and carries over to the customers and how long they use it and integrate it as well, and whether they feel loyal to the tool or the platform.
Yeah, it's really marvelous, isn't it? And you said something. It's kind of digging into Kajabi because you kind of sparked an idea. How do you use StreamYard and Kajabi? And so I just want to walk you through that, Shannon, just for a second. So, StreamYard is the stream. It's on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter, or I think Twitch as well. And then they're saved. This video is going to be saved on LinkedIn. It's going to be saved on YouTube, which I think is the integration point between Kajabi. And so you could take that YouTube video and you could embed it in your Kajabi web pages. You can embed it as part of your content. You could make it part in the stream, part of the Kajabi experience, right? I think that's kind of a neat opportunity. But I have been playing around with this training idea, and one of the ideas I had, and I'd love to run it by you, Shannon, was to do basically 6 weeks of training, so one full day, and then stream it all out and record it with StreamYard, and then have essentially 5 additional 2-hour sessions. So it would almost be like a dojo, if you know that martial art expression. And so that's one of the kind of things I want to do. But I think there's an opportunity with these tooling to be, and this is one of my favorite things about these tools, is to be kind of innovative, right? And innovate in this space and kind of play around with, the concept of a webinar, the concept of a conference, or the concept of a class, or the concept, And so I think this is part of the fun.
Yeah, well, you've been my digital mentor for years, and I'm so grateful to you to, again, take away that resistance that we initially have to anything new, but especially technology. And a concept that you brought up today that I hadn't heard, but I'm sure everybody can relate to, is tech debt. When you're like, sure, I'll sign up for that app, or I'll sign up for that thingamajig, and then wait a second. Actually, we just experienced this with the Google Authenticator. I thought I was getting an authentication app, and I just clicked on the wrong thing because the advertisement had them floating to the top. And now I'm embedded into using this Authenticator app on my phone, and I had to unscramble it, and it was a nightmare. And so, you get into these deep debts of this technology decisions that you make very impulsively. So obviously, it always comes back to mindfulness and executive functioning and decision making and being calm and having all the data before you make a decision. That's certainly there. But there is something about, I have an immediate need and I want to scratch that itch right now. And so this technology is going to solve that right now. So I think it's balancing those two things.
That was marvelously put. I feel like that was what you just said would make a wonderful, a terrific soundbite, like a real good clip.
You're thinking ahead.
Yeah. I have to learn how to edit video. I think I know you're quite adept at it, but I can work on that later. But anyways, if it's okay with you, I think I'd like to quickly walk you through the other kind of interesting things about the app, the StreamYard app. It is very simple. If you look at my top, there's this broadcast button. We are broadcasting. I think I mentioned that before. And then here are the links to the currently streaming services. So this is LinkedIn, this is YouTube, and this is Twitter, right? So you can, once again, you can watch the stream live, or you can go to the YouTube or the LinkedIn. I have to double check, Shannon, whether it kind of survives on Twitter after the stream, but that's another thing. One of my kind of favorite things is this banners, right? And so these are all the banners from my previous sessions. I'm just gonna bring that text pad up.
What do you mean banners? What does that mean, banners?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to come through. So I'm looking for a good one. So this is a Krav ZT. This is a link. I'm clicking on show, and then whoops. Am I covering it up?
I am seeing it covered up, and then I see the website link in the bottom left.
Yeah. So what happens is this comes up on the screen, right? And so it's in the bottom left, and you can put these, anything you need. And so, I highly recommend, this is kind of a semi-pro tip, that you use a URL shortener, right? So this is an example of a shortened URL as well. And so this is my own personal kind of project. It's called fastsystemsyncing.com. And then there's this thing called hyperautomation. And so the hyperautomation definition is actually kind of hard to get to. So I use this personal URL shortener. This is my domain. And then I have /HA, and I can just give people this link, and they can quickly get to this kind of hard to get to website, right?
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the banners are, like, when you're referring to something, I mean, I said a couple plugs already, shameless plugs, not meaning to, but www. There's like wholeu.info/ Fund Your Bliss, and then are you saying that the URLs would be on the right-hand side? So when you're referring to these resources, you would click on them?
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm just gonna put that in. Is it all lowercase? Fund Your Bliss. Is it like that? Can you see it?
It's wholeyou.info/Fund Your Bliss. I actually don't see it. It's a little bit small on my screen.
I'll just put it up and then show the like. Oops, there was a typo. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that was it.
There was a typo. I misspelled your, which is embarrassing. Let me fix that.
Happens.
Oh yeah, and then there's actually an option. I didn't know this before, to scroll across the bottom. So if we want to track everyone's attention to it, we'll do that.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. Oh, interesting. Wow, that's so cool.
That's really nice, right? And so, that, like, I think, frankly, I wish I'd thought of this before. I know you kind of had a couple plugs, but this one is kind of a good one because it's the Fund Your Bliss program, and then people can see your website, right? wholeyou.info, right? And so,
sure, right. Yeah, got it. Yeah, that is a point when they're giving a presentation. Oh, let me look for that and put it in the chat box. But this is a really beautiful solution to. I wonder if it's clickable on my end or on the audience's end.
It's not, and that's like an artifact of the video. And so it's video. So, like, as far as I know, you can't click on it. Yeah.
So is there a way, just a question, I see a private chat between you and I and a comment section if they wanted to send one, but there is no chatting functionality between us and the audience. If we wanted, this is the way we would communicate links. We wouldn't be able to send them anything directly.
Oh, what a great question. I believe the comments are bidirectional. I believe you can send a chat.
I'm not seeing that.
Right.
Some destinations. Let's take a peek. Oh, it says some destinations won't get comments and learn more.
So I believe. So I'm going to type in hi. This is a test. I believe this will show up on the LinkedIn page.
Okay, I understand, because it's your. I'm just a guest, so as a guest, I'm not able to make those comments, but you can.
I wasn't aware of that. Thanks for that clarification. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I see some options, just so you know what's going on my end. In my top right hand corner, as a guest, so a featured guest of your being on your platform, it says sign up for free, it says log in, and then it says stream this to your audience. So if I click that, it's prompting me to sign in, and then I could obviously stream this to my LinkedIn and YouTube if I had an account. So that's really cool.
Oh, that's a killer feature. I'd argue that's really neat.
Yeah.
So if you had like a first of all, I wish I knew that. But we can work on it in the future. But if you had like Barack Obama or whatever on, and you wanted to leverage their connections, you could with the StreamYard. That's a really cool feature.
Are you connected to Barack Obama?
No, I wish.
I have some friends that are, and I'm like, what?
That's amazing.
Will his assistant let them in, or does he monitor his own profile?
Yeah. But that ability to kind of I would describe it as echoing out the network, right? Or that's not the right word, but magnifying or amplify. Just that ability to amplify yours and my network. And
right.
That's a great feature. I'm so glad you mentioned that today.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it next time.
Yeah, and then I'm up in the I'm going to leave the scroll going, but I just want to call you. I think you might find it interesting. There is this ability to very nicely rebrand this experience, right? So to add in the whole you logo and brand, and you can change the background to your color. It's quite a bit, right? And then I think kind of the coolest feature is they have this background music while people are waiting for the stream to start. It's very professional, I'd argue. It's really well done,
So would you say that this is a replacement for Zoom? Is it arguably like
Yeah, it's a great question. So Zoom has that bidirectionality. So it's if you could use Zoom as a webinar platform,
right?
And they have that, but the problem with Zoom is it doesn't have this connectivity to all the different platforms, right? And so
right.
So for webinars, this is my favorite tool. For meetings, Zoom was my favorite tool. I kind of like Google Meets a little bit now, and it's free, And so I have been noticing more and more companies like my I had a previous employer that got rid of Zoom, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And opted for just Google Meet?
No, actually, it was the Microsoft Teams platform. They switched to that. Yeah. So there's a bunch of competitive, and so they have relationships with the Teams people. They have relationships with Google people. Kind of makes that decision easier. Zoom, unfortunately, is very expensive. I think I spend, I think, about $15-$20 on mine, a
Yeah,
month.
I actually did try to get rid of mine and then like opting for Google Meet, but it was the tech debt that kept me back from it, saying, "Oh gosh, but I have that link embedded in a couple places where I send it
Yeah,
out."
yeah.
It's just a matter of digging through and replacing it.
I mean, one of the things that keeps me on Zoom, and this is probably hardcore inside baseball, but I'm a Calendly user. With the calendar management system, and they have hooks into Zoom. And I don't know if maybe they have them hooks into Google Meets now, but the meeting gets set up with a Zoom, and so I don't have to go back in and worry about it, right? And so that's worth that Zoom price at this point, I guess. But
Yeah,
hopefully, mhm.
I think we should maybe focus on Calendly next time as the software tool. We were saying that these sessions would be expert training for online digital entrepreneurs. And digital entrepreneurs need to do webinars like this. They need to use Calendly to book sessions with clients or colleagues. So Calendly could be a good next step, but then also just jumping into Kajabi at some point and giving people the lay of the land there. But we can make a list of tools that we think are pretty essential for online digital
Yeah, I,
entrepreneurs.
I
Yeah.
love that idea. I know, like, I know how not nice this is to say, but I consider myself this tool fool. I love tooling. Like, I hide my desktop. You can see it if I scroll put my mouse down. But I think people have like sticker shock when they see how many tools I have in my dock, and that's just me. Like I use, I think Shane, I use like 4 messaging apps and 2 different calendaring systems. I mean, like 5 different notes. Like, and I use them for 4 different to do lists, and I use them for different things. And part of it is like being a software professional. I feel like
Yeah.
I want to kind of see what's going on, and and I'm interested in it, and I like it, and but I to be honest, I've been like this my whole life. I was always like a gadget person. My grandfather was. It was very important to me, and I kind of took after him, and in that regard, he was like a ham radio operator, and he had like the cool antenna. I thought it was cool on the back of his car, and and so I do love tooling, and I do love teaching people about it, and that's really what's kind of driving me towards that Kajabi zero trust idea, and that
Yeah.
project.
Yeah, I'd like to map your journey with it because I think you have, as you said, this is like as you shared with me, is like a huge market. You're looking into the future, zero trust. Maybe for those who don't know, maybe you can just give a quick summary of what it entails.
Yeah, I mean, it's this new approach to networking, and it was mandated by the White House, believe it or not, for that every federal agency had to be zero trust compliant by 2024. And what it really means is that every device basically has this authentication, and you don't trust anyone. You assume all these kind of things about the network, and it's contrary to the way we design networks. Networking was one of my first passions in information technology, and it's very different than the way we design them. And you mentioned the market size, and according to me, it's the biggest market I've ever encountered, Shannon. And I'm just so excited for that future. And there's a lot of like, zero trust is kind of like an approach or a mentality right now. But I believe I have a very, very good reference system, a reference approach based on the OpenZD work, and so that's ZITI, like zero trust ZD, and I look forward to kind of teaching the world about zero trust, and being hopefully getting really understanding it really, really well by the time the zero trust market really starts to take off.
Yeah, I think that's a great foretelling of the future and being involved, getting in early and helping people adapt early.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to kind of just finish up. So this StreamYard is just so simple, right? And this conversation was so lovely and so fun. But there's like an ability to invite others to this particular StreamYard. You can present, right? And the presenting is kind of neat. It has hooks into Google Docs, or excuse me, Google Slides, and so you can present like from your Google account. Like it's not like a tab. It's like integrating directly with Google. Like it's really kind of neat approach. So there's a lot of connectivity stuff that this StreamYard company kind of put into this product. It's really kind of novel and interesting. And then I have the ability to, I'll stop my camera. You have the ability to stop my camera. I have the ability to put myself on mute. And so very similar to like a Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've mentioned it to you several times in this call. I think the tremendous value really is in that ability to save these discussions and use them and point people to them and offer them as collateral or marketing or useful content, right?
Right. Yeah. So that said, I think we should review what we've discussed and maybe get some highlighted nuggets and send them out to people. If they don't have the time to watch the whole thing, we'll just maybe send out a couple high level thoughts that we had.
Yeah, so I think if you are a knowledgepreneur and you're looking for a way to generate new audience or develop an audience, I don't think you can do something. I don't think you do anything better than starting a webinar on whatever it is, that knowledge that you're trying to impart. And I believe StreamYard costs me $30 a month, and the value is tremendous. It's a wonderful platform, and the videos that it creates. Like I mentioned when we first started, I'm so proud of them. Like the discussions and the guests I've had on, including yourself, have been so wonderful and so much educational and so interesting, and I really enjoy it. And I think it's just a great way to build an audience, and I think it's this opportunity for novel innovation in this kind of format too.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for your generosity as always in sharing. It's like you learn something and it's really useful, and you just automatically want to share it with other people. So I really appreciate that about you. And I obviously learned so much, and it's great to be able to share with others in this format. So I look forward to future chats.
Oh, I can't wait. And I think your Calendly idea was a great one. So we'll pencil it in. We'll socialize it. We'll wire your account up so we can share it. And I'm just gonna terminate the broadcast. If you don't mind just sticking around for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.